Welcome back to The Watch. And oh boy, I got some good news. When did this drop? Over the weekend?
It was last week.
Last week.
Last week, yeah.
Dragon's Dogma 2. So I have said multiple times, Dragon's Dogma 1 is like my favorite game of all time. Like, genuinely. And when the trailer dropped, I have, like, watched it, I don't know, 5 to 10 times, maybe. And there are some interesting things to notice when you go really slowly. That's what I want to do here. We're going to break down the trailer and point out things that people might miss, which is giving us information, indications of what is going to be in Dragon's Dogma number 2. Now, before we do that, though, I do want to share some, like, our overview kind of thoughts and impressions of the trailer, and also to hear what Nathan's thoughts are on the game. Did you ever play Dragon's Dogma?
I did not. I've seen you stream it, obviously. I haven't played it. But this one's interesting because I feel like the first one is very underrated.
Oh, yeah. Massive.
It's very niche right now still. And it'd be interesting to see if Dragon's Dogma 2 can actually bring it more into the spotlight. And we'll see later in development whether they tease new things that people might actually want to jump on board for.
Well, when you say it's niche, it was under the radar when it was released, but since release, more people have slowly kind of come around to it, a lot of it through word of mouth.
Yeah.
And when they play it, they find out this is a really good game. And I remember when Dragon's Dogma 1 was released on Steam, it actually sold really well.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the things that triggered Capcom to think, oh, maybe there's a bit more, a justification for it. And then I think with how well Elden Ring is done, Capcom was probably thinking, got
to get onto this.
Yeah, and they should have done it earlier, but still, even though they're doing it now, I think the market is ready for it. There's a lot of enthusiasm for it, and as a result, I'm wondering that this could go bonkers, because the first Dragon's Dogma was only released on PlayStation, which also I think affected its sales. This number 2, they're releasing it on everything, which is also, I think, another vote of confidence for the brand.
So I think it all depends on marketing, and I'm interested to see like the things that you spot in this, and we'll probably do more videos in the future as well.
Oh,
you'll be promoting this, Shad. I'm sure you'll be screaming from the rooftops.
I am so excited.
Play this game so I get more sequels.
It's my favorite game, man. Like, seriously, Dragon's Dogma, Dark Arisen, everything. Like, I've played this game to death, and I've replayed it, and it's one of those games that I can just go back and enjoy. And there's few games like that for me, and it hits so many things that I love, like character creation, in-depth kind of cosmetic options. They have number 1, bonkers. It's crazy. One of the few games that ever did this, right? It had a layering system with the armor. You know, Skyrim, everything like that? Yeah, just your chest armor, and that's it. This one, no, you had an underlayer and an overlayer for both the chest and the legs, and you could mix and match and make all these different crazy characters. It's so much fun! I replayed this just for different character looks. Like, seriously. And then the gameplay. Oh my goodness, the gameplay. Dragon's Dogma, best gameplay ever. Fight me. Like, seriously, because it has like the difficulty Elden Ring-esque kind of thing, but then it has so many awesome mechanics, like the climbing, of course. And so that doesn't mean there aren't areas where I would like, improvement to be seen. And when I heard Dragon's Dogma 2 was announced, I did a whole video on Shadiversity, just like what I want in the game. And this trailer actually seems to indicate that some of my hopes aren't being fulfilled. But then other hopes are, because one of my biggest concerns for Dragon's Dogma 2 is that they were going to change it too much. Like, I heard rumors of them exploring this story where you had to wear a mask. Constantly, and I was like, no, don't do that, and all these weird things. So it seems like they're more playing it safe, where it's very much in line with Dragon's Dogma 1, and one of the things that I would have liked them to have changed up is the weapon accessibility based on class restriction. I think that was actually the class is really fun, especially the skill systems. But I think like an open system where your class is more determined by whatever weapon you choose, instead of you choose this class and you're only allowed 1 or 2 weapons. And like for the warrior class, right? Only 2-handed swords. And it's like the only class that has 1 weapon, when every other class has 2 weapons at least. And then you have unbalanced classes like the assassin, which can use like up to 4 weapons. And you can really just on the fly, it's like, oh, now I need a bow. I got a bow. I need a sword or a shield, and then daggers. And so it became unbalanced. And what they should do is I was thinking, is just open it up. Like every character can have 1 to 2 weapons. You probably brought just 2 weapons. I'd happily even go as far as 3, but you can only have 2 equipped weapons.
Yep.
But you can pick any weapon, and then that kind of determines your class and play style. I don't think they're doing that. But I could go on and on just about this. And I will probably share additional comments of hopes or indications of what they might have for Dragon's Dogma 2. But there are also little nuggets throughout the trailer that we're going to be taking a look at. So let's get this going. So already by the beginning, it's very much the style of storytelling that Dragon's Dogma had. And the story was one of the weaker parts of Dragon's Dogma. And so already there are things that are there are callbacks. Okay, that cart, right, is one in Dragon's Dogma 1. One of the first missions that you do is like a cart escort mission, and it wasn't boring. Like it was actually like when you're not aware of the mechanics, it's a tough mission, and you're constantly getting attacked, and it's stressful. And then when it gets dark at nighttime, and it was great. And so callback right there, which is a reassuring thing because it's like they remember, you know, this is going to be a Dragon's Dogma experience, and you get more of that through the trailer. And then you have this pull out, right? And the textures and just the land looks the same. So already there's but there's also new things as well. And this does feel like it's Grancis because of the Blue Moon Tower. See that tower right at the back there? That's the Blue Moon Tower out of the first game, I'm pretty sure. At the same time, though, if you look closely, there is an area on the map that does not look familiar. If you look in the top right corner, I don't know where it would be on the screen. See that red part? It looks like a canyon area.
Wasn't there before?
Well, there was nothing like that in the first game. And so absolutely what we would hope for in the second game is an expanded map. I'm hoping for a much, much, much larger map. Just give me area to explore and roam and fight monsters. Another mechanic that I hope that... So Dragon's Dogma 1 is where the monsters spawned was always the same spot. And it felt very artificial as a result. I would like more roaming kind of creatures and random encounters and things instead of you'll go here, you'll always find, an ogre or something like that. And so that's one of the changes I hope. But it already looks like they're expanding the map, which is I'm happy. So I was saying about the story being the weaker part. We'll see elements of like the same type of storytelling as it goes through. That same font.
Then have you forgotten that you protected me from the dragon's flames?
So there was a lot, actually. Those were like cut. And so I'm going to go back and go slowly because that's what this whole video is for. Like we're deep diving, analyzing the trailer here. But the type of storytelling is almost the same. You see that overall narration, you know, where your character's probably not going to have a voice.
Yep.
And but there are other voiced characters that they'll probably be good. You know, I really enjoyed the cutscenes, not because the story was great. I'm talking about Dragon's Dogma 1. One of the reasons what I loved about the cutscenes is that you got to see your character animated and interacting. And because you got to make your character and have so much freedom with the way they looked, it was just so fun to see your unique character in the scene. And I loved rewatching that scene with different characters just because you had so much freedom with the way they looked. It was fun, and it added replayability heaps. Okay, so we're going back. So she looks like a pawn. She raised her hand and she has a pawn print, and so the pawn system or mythology, because they actually built the like world building to justify the pawn system. It wasn't just a game mechanic; they had world building underpinning it. What do you think about the graphics that we see here? It's not crazy graphic, but it's a lot better than
it's a facelift.
Yeah, it's a facelift, but it's not the best that you can find at the moment.
But at this point now, I don't think games should be ultra realistic. That's my hot take. I think you want this to run on those who played the first one might have a bit beefier PCs or whatever, but you still want to run it on whatever you're playing right now. Yeah. We get a view of some of the armor and weapons, and already see his sword. That's lifted. Well, it's designed based off of one of the swords in the first game. I think it's the broadsword. Just even the crossguard. I'm so familiar with this game. The armor looks to be new. New helmet, new pauldron and arm pieces. And
I would love it if the pauldron arm pieces are a top layer and that Gambison is wearing is an underlayer, and hopefully it should be. One of the things that I'm hoping they have in this, in terms of the armor, is dyes. That would
Coloring stuff.
Because some outfit pieces just did not match other outfit pieces because they were locked in color. But if you could color, they would match, and you could have vastly more kind of flavor and stuff. So please give us dye ability. That would be great. But cool helmet, cool armor. So call back to the first game. There's going to be another Arisen story I'm expecting, because holy crap, that's the dragon from the first game. That's Grigori. Well, we'll see him. So is that the same character as before? It actually might be different. She's got shorter hair.
Yeah.
So maybe that first character wasn't a pawn then. But this is a pawn because this is their pawn print.
Yep.
So we have cat people now.
That's new.
Yeah, that is new. We didn't have cat people last time. I don't think awesome, yet I don't think it's like...
Okay, great.
In character creation, you could make your character have pointed ears, but no in-game character was like an elf. You could make your character look like a dwarf, and so you could make like them to look like dwarves, elves, halflings, goblins, because you could pick like any color of skin and you could unlock other things. And so cat, lion type people, it's like, okay, interesting. Other things that jump out to me, I recognize some of the armor pieces. Mm-hmm. So I'm not sure if it gets brighter as this thing, but see the cat guy's gloves?
Yep.
Those are gloves out of the first. Or they obviously can't use it because the graphics are too low and the poly count is probably lower as well. And so they've remade them, though, to look the same. To me, that's an attention to the detail, to want it to feel like the same game, that they're even copying armor pieces is like, wow, this is really going to feel like the first game, which I'm all on board with. Like, because so he's wearing his the gloves, the cat guy, but he also looks like he's wearing. So there was 3 tiers of surcoat that you could get. It was like a kind of grimy white that got faded into a bit of brown, but then there was blue, and there was the royal one, which is red. That looks like the blue surcoat that we see there. And this guy I recognize the hat, and he's got like a ringmail shirt, and so there are armor pieces that are really close to the first game.
The dragon's flame.
Another cat guy, and so he looks like an NPC in the world. So it looks like there's going to be an actual race of people. Cat people. I almost wish they either went traditional, like elves or dwarves or something, or something more original than cat people. Cat people appear here. Do Japanese just like lion cat fantasy?
Cats are a thing, I think, in Japan. They worship the cat.
There was a game like, was it Bless or something? But anyway, there was an MMO that had cat people in it. Though I think it could work in a fantasy setting if they actually expanded a little bit more and had other anthropomorphic kind of races, not just cat. Yeah. For me, if it's just cat, it feels out of place, right? And so what's interesting, right? Humans can fit into this dichotomy, I guess, this world building thing. If you have all the humanoid races evolutions from animals, well, there's a theory already that humans are evolved from an animal. And so humans are the branch of, ape. And then these are the branch of the cat evolutions. And then I think you should expand it to perhaps some, eagle, wolf
lizards as well. Wolves are cool.
Yeah, lizards. Lizards are a more common one.
Fish. Give me fish people.
Really? Fish
I'm just saying, you're picking the animal kingdom.
And then that's actually been a fantasy idea that I had played with. Is like, you could, instead of elves and dwarves, have them all be evolutions of animal origins, and humans fit in perfectly well with that setting. So anyway, those are my thoughts. The sword almost looks like I think it's called the sword. The sword is called Saving Grace, and it looks like the handle of or the hilt, the pommel of Saving Grace. I don't know. Armor, I give it a bit of a thumbs up, though. They're doing something that I think I would love video games to move past. It's it'll come up in the part in the trailer when we see it, and it's just a little pet peeve I have, and it really is probably only bothering me, but I'll point it out when we see it. So you see the cat guy. That looks like a griffin. Same. This is showing some of the storytelling, some ghostly person. Okay. Some of the combat. Man, they're showing a lot, and they're clipping back. So the classic-looking goblins. I love the goblins in Dragon's Dogma. They would look like just classic goblins. Grubby, small, aggressive. Unintelligent, evil. It's a human. And so what I find really interesting about Dragon's Dogma and other games Japan is actually starting to do medieval fantasy really well in some areas. Like sometimes they go off the rails, bonkers, and they just lose the plot, and they have like weird Japanese kind of cultural things in the medieval setting that just doesn't fit. But other times they chef's kiss. One of the best examples actually, the anime Record of Lodoss Wars is basically D&D. D&D in an anime, really, really good. And Dragon's Dogma was one of those ones where they actually go out of their way to have pretty accurate armor and weapons. Like, it looks really good. And Elden Ring kind of does this as well.
Yeah.
But the creatures are actually very traditionally European. Like, you got goblins, you have griffins, you have harpies, you have ogres and cyclopses. And so they're even lifting from Greek mythology, especially the chimeras and things. And so the monster thing feels so fresh. Because I don't know, there's not many games that do it, yet so traditional because they're lifting and it's fun. It's good. Man, that's why we're doing a deep dive. I've got so much to say on this trailer. So this attack animation, this is where it seems to be confirming that not only are they keeping the kind of class system, they're even keeping the skill sets of the original classes. Because this is the dash attack from the first warrior class. Just run in, bang. And it looks almost identical. Even the way he tilts his head down and leans in with a strike. I've seen this attack animation probably a million times, okay? It's one of the better dash attacks for Sword and Shield, and so I used it a lot. And could they they would be able to just reuse animations and hook the skeleton to a new thing. And so I wonder if they're just flat reusing the resources, which I'm not opposed to.
No, it's smart. It saves them money to then spend it on other things instead of animating the same attack animation you'd have anyways.
Yeah, and so it looks like that. There's going to be the original classes in place, and we see some just flat Magic Archer appears in this, and so original classes are there. So when they're saying that they want this to be like Dragon's Dogma, wow, are they doing it? And so, like I said, I was kind of hoping that they'd mix up the classes a little bit, but the reason I'm having this is it also means that they're not trying something so different that they're ruining it. They're just playing it safe. They know these classes worked, people had fun with them, and so I'm still happy with it. Even if I don't see much of an improvement, they're not making it worse. They're not being dumb and everything. So we see this, really good to see. And I think this guy at the back is doing a jump shot with a bow. It looked like it if we... Yeah. And so same thing. So we see that. Now, this attack, right? Two-handed. It's a double spin attack. I did not remember. That's not in the original game. You can mix up one of the standard attacks, right? And there is the crescent move, where you spin around, but there's double spin moving in. That looks like part of the normal. So you have your standard attacks, and then you have your special skill attacks. This looks like part of the standard attack animations, and this is good because the attack animations were a bit limited, and they just seem to repeat themselves a bit too much in Dragon's Dogma. And so if they are bringing in more attack animations, good choice. And because the big sword animations, they were, like I said, felt repetitious after a while, where you just did this big hit and big hit. I like the swords that you get, the big swords, are really, really big in the game. And so it makes sense that they're overly heavy. Yet when you get a sword that is based off of, say, a medieval Zweihander, it's the same criticism I had with Elden Ring. It looks like they're barely able to move it when that actual historical sword is not meant to be that heavy. And so, pet peeve. But the big sword he has, we'll go back. Let's just watch this stuff again because I enjoy it.
You need only believe in your own destiny.
Big attack, and then this one, spin, bang. That looks wicked. I was like, all right, I'm on board with that.
That begs.
Okay. New NPC feels very much like this original storytelling in Dragon's Dogma, where it's going to be cutscenes voiced and stuff. And they deliver the story in a way where it's a bit cryptic. They don't want you to understand everything. And same thing here. It's like, that begs the question, if he's a mere mummer, then where might our true Arisen be? And so this is it. You play an Arisen, which is the person who gets your heart stolen by the dragon. I'm expecting that's going to be the same. You'd have to be an Arisen 2 to use the pawns, but they might be playing up. You could be an imposter. All right. I'm not really getting baited too much by the story that they're showing in the trailer, but still give me fun cutscenes where I can see my character doing things. It would be great if they actually expanded storytelling a bit more. I'm hoping this game is just bigger in every way. Longer gameplay means longer story, bigger maps. Give me it all right? And like, I'm such a sucker for this game. I'm probably gonna buy every single DLC imaginable. I hope Capcom doesn't do the scummy thing where they, But even if they do, I'm the sucker that's gonna buy it all.
I can see even buying it on PC and then buying it on Xbox or whatever else, just to let them know, Shad, that you want more.
I want more Dragon's Dogma. Like, before the expansion, I bought every single DLC. One of the flaws of the original game is that you only had one save slot, and it was tied to your account. And so if you wanted multiple save slots, you had to make multiple accounts. So I made 6 PlayStation accounts to have different characters on the original game. And I'm hoping that's a limitation of the technology, because I think it was tied to the pawn. It wasn't really multiplayer, but the pawn system had you could hire other people's pawns, and so therefore your save need to be tied to your account. I hope they fix that. Just give us multiple saves on the one thing, because it's the same with the PC port of it. It's tied to your Steam account, so I have multiple Steam accounts, so I can have multiple. Anyway. Okay. So we see a golem there. So, and this is a new type of golem by the look of it. Or they just gave them a facelift, but the guy at the forefront, Ranger. That's the Ranger class right there. He's shooting it. See fighters. So this guy, this is interesting. This is a new class.
Okay.
Because that weapon he's holding, it's a double-bladed sword.
Oh,
He's got a double-bladed sword and is casting a spell. That weapon is not in, and so this weapon seems to be a specific weapon tied to a specific class, and so this is actually interesting. They're keeping traditional classes, and they seem to be just adding more classes on top of it, which I'm all on board with. Balancing is an issue. The assassin was just OP. The OP classes of the first game was the assassin and the magic archer. You could just wreck with those classes. I liked actually playing some of the other classes just for the challenge, beating the final boss in Bitterback Isles with a warrior with the greatsword is really tough, but I did it. So is that me acknowledging that the unbalancing is a feature, not a bug?
I think so, yeah, because
I like the challenge.
For the hardcore players who are like, well, I played it the easy way, let's play it the hard way too, and then play it another way as well.
All right. This is where it would be a problem. And this is one of the other kind of hopes for, or speculation, we don't know it yet, about Dragon's Dogma 2. Multiplayer. Multiplayer PvP. Ooh, that's the natural expansion of game mechanics. It wouldn't be broken if it doesn't have it. You would still get your classic Dragon's Dogma experience. But you'd think if you're wanting to expand the features and make some really fun replayability in it, that would almost be a given, you'd think. Some type of dueling system like I have in Elden Ring, wouldn't you think?
I don't know. With them and with Capcom, they are sometimes a bit sleight of hand. You don't really know it. Also, multiplayer is hard, and I can see them playing it safe. We have games recently that have come out and are just atrocious launches. I think the last thing they want is any bad news for Dragon's Dogma. So, look, if they announce it, I think everyone's going to be very excited for it. I'll jump on it then, play multiplayer. Yeah. But I can also see them very easily just being we're keeping it safe, keeping the pawn system how it is, and maybe not going. Maybe future DLC, maybe, I don't know.
Because imagine if you and your 3 pawns could take on another player with their 3 pawns.
Yeah. Because
one of the fun, Dragon's Dogma has such fun mechanics, and one of them was balancing your party, picking the right pawn with the right skills to have them do what you need to do while you're doing something, and heaps of fun. heaps of fun. Because as soon as you change your class, you needed to change your support pawns to get a good balance. Like when you're playing a sorcerer, which is heaps of fun, but usually you need to hang back, send the pawns in, and have time to cast your spells. So, multiplayer would be great. The thing is, though, if they do multiplayer, they need the classes to be balanced, wouldn't you think? Because then everyone is just going to spam the troll classes that you can just wreck people with. So, we will have to wait and see. I'm going to go back because there's just so much to see. All right, because that guy's helmet that we see in the middle, it's a bit too blurry, but that looks like one of the classic helmets. And this looks like in the new area. You know that canyon area? Red Rock area. So it's a bit too blurry to make out. All right, so this is the new character class. He is wearing... did they call it the tabard? I think they called it either that. But anyway, it's a clothing item from first game. I wasn't a fan of it. It made you look a bit too lumpy. But still... I'm glad. I actually go out of their way to get some pretty historical clothing. Like there's a blion. It's called blount, but it's French, so it's pronounced a blion, like that. That's in the game. It's not. It doesn't look exactly what it should though, but it's close enough.
And where might
So cool spell. And here, Magic Archer right there. They're so OP, and look, they're fun because they are OP, but balancing issues. I couldn't recognize what that creature was. It was a bit too blurry for me. Is that just a Cyclops? Oh, wait. That might be a Minotaur. It looks like a cow head with two horns.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, there were Minotaurs in Black Isles, but this is a different looking one. And it was more that they wore a Minotaur helmet, so it was like just a really big guy with this looks like a proper Minotaur, so which is that counts as a new monster. Cool. More cat people. Cat people confirm. So Empress Nadina's life is in your hands, Sir Arisen. Very classic-y kind of Dragon's Dogma storytelling stuff.
Life is in your hands, Sir Arisen.
Okay. This is where my pet peeve is.
Okay.
We need to go back and rewatch it. I want you to pay attention to how the breastplate moves. It's a pet peeve. I wanted to stop.
Are true Arisen. Empress Nadina's life is in your hands, Sir Arisen.
Praise be.
See how it looks like the breastplate's made out of rubber and just moves with him as he moves. I can't stand it. I know multiple games do it, and it'll be really hard to.
Well, not necessarily. It's the reason. The reason that happens is because they use what's called weight painting.
Oh, is it?
So they will make the human. It's annoying. I actually wouldn't like that. If I made a game, I would make sure not to do that. But what happens is when you have a skeleton underneath a mesh, they weight paint how much the skeleton should affect something. And so what they're doing is the arms are probably weight painted with the chest as well, because on a human body with skin, when you move up your arms, your chest moves as well. And so they've probably done that with weight painting, where if you just say to the skeleton, hey, don't move the chest plate when I move the arms, you can fix that. So
see, because armor is supposed to be stiff, and I'd love it if the armor pieces were stiff and actually sitting on top of someone. But that I could see that create clipping with the characters moving too.
I think it's mostly a time thing. It takes too long to test that sort of stuff.
And so it seems like that it's just connected. That means they can just put a texture or something on top and connect it to their clothing layout.
Because I think they probably use the same thing for a chest plate as they would with like a gambeson or something else.
Yeah. So, like I said, it's a pet peeve. It doesn't, of course, break the game by any means, but you'd think graphics are progressing. Are we getting to the point where you could have more like solid-looking armor on these people?
Again, you could do it. It's just you got to pay someone to do it. That's, I think, the bottleneck there.
Yeah. But the armor doesn't look terrible. It's fantasy and stuff, and he's wearing solid gambeson underneath, and so,
For only the sovereign's guidance.
Classic mage character class there, and so we see like how the grass looks and the trees look, and so it's not phenomenal. It's certainly a facelift, and so it looks better. I'm still happy with it because it's all Dragon's Dogma. And so, all right, I've never seen this weapon thing. It's based off one of those, I don't know what they're called, but they're incense kind of pot
cleanse
things.
thingies, yeah.
That you see some more traditional churches like Catholicism, they kind of have those sometimes. That looks like it's a magic item. This might be an actual priest class. So this could be interesting. Before, healing was the mage class. It was all mage, and then if you and the heavy spell was the sorcerer class. I wonder if they're going to separate healing out of the mage class now and put it on the priest class. I'm not opposed to that because they had priests, like nuns and priests in the original game, and they are actually NPC characters, and so religion was present. And it makes sense that the healing should be on priests, and to give us a priest class, they might be doing it. Cool. I like it. So then that means, because we actually saw the mage staff before, and I think we do see a sorcerer staff later on, so it seems like mage and sorcerer are still separate classes. And if that's the case, I wonder what spells they were going to give the mage class to kind of justify the mage to the sorcerer if they don't have healing. Maybe they have all the same skills as before, and it's all new and they have 2 healing classes. That's probably what they could do as well for this priest. But this priest spell, you see him do something. By the way, Cyclops. See the Cyclops there? Classic monsters. So yeah, that looked like it made a bridge.
A bridge across, yeah.
All right, this is the sorcerer, and he's doing one of the classic spells, Meteor. So look at it. And it's the same animation. When you finish the spell, you're floating, and you're like, I love it. So this is like nostalgia to the moon, and for every fan like me, seeing this is just like, yes, it's Dragon's Dogma injected into my veins. And then yeah, Meteor Storm. So it's not like the layout, what we see, we're about to see the city. It looks very much Grancis-like, but larger, which I'm on board with. And then, this looks like gameplay footage. I'm just looking at the armor and the clothing, and I like that. Cowl looks like it's from the original game as well. This is, so you got the Ranger class. And oh my goodness, I can't remember the name of there's the first dexterity class. And it looks like that. They have a shorter bow. Or he could be the assassin class. But NPCs floating around. See, I wonder if this is like the Great Wall. I don't know, because it looks like it's based in Grancis. Yeah. And then they might have a new village or settlement. But yeah, bigger map. Give us a bigger map. So the griffin animations are the same, like that. What the griffin did, where its head goes down but kind of arc back. It's the same. The same, Nathan.
It's good.
I love it. And same mechanic. You're like climbing on the griffin, smacking in its head. And I know there was some skills where you could launch people in the air. I never used them, and so I actually can't recognize if this. But he's jumping off this other guy's shield. So if we go back, so this guy with the shield launched him in the air.
I'm sorry, it reminds me of Rings of Power.
Yeah.
When Galadriel goes on the sword, that's all.
Yes, yeah. I never use the skill. Fighting an ogre. It's good to see the ogres back. Some of the armor of this guy with the big sword, that looks similar to the first game as well. But even the rock textures, they're higher detail, but they look the same, but in higher detail. It's like, this looks like it's the quarry from the first game. And so, I don't know, the tone, the actual color of the grey is the same. So they are really making this look and feel like the first game. Jumps on the head, climbing. So this is interesting. So sorcerer, that's a sorcerer staff there. Outfit is like what she's wearing is one of the sorcerer outfits from the first game. I really, really hope they expand the armor and clothing a lot. They're showing a lot of ones from the first game, and so I'm worried if they're just copying most of it and we don't get a lot more. Give us more. Give us heaps more. We want give us dies. This is interesting. I wonder to what level this is, because what the ogre does? Stomps down, bridge broke. So destructible environments. How much are you giving us? I want more.
Games don't do that.
Why?
Because it's too difficult. Okay. I reckon that's probably a cutscene or game, like story thing.
I think it's Maybe, or there's set things that are the only things that are
break.
destructible.
Yeah.
Because it's the same like in the original game. You could always break apart barrels.
Yeah,
and
you can do the same thing with a bridge or
carts.
whatever. That's fine. But saying,
I know it's not going to be full destruction. I would love that. Like I'd love to be able to destroy everything, do a meteor storm, and it blows apart a building. But then, of course, will that mess up the story? Do the NPCs have to rebuild it, or does it just respawn? You know, like part of me does wish for like a role playing game that which just has everything's on the table.
Yeah,
but it's a lot of work. And would a game dev
would
be
they?
bothered?
I don't know. Maybe I would.
Maybe. But yeah, again, we see a Cyclops there. Even the trees look the same. I love it. Look at this armor. I like that armor piece. I can recognize and this for me confirms that they're keeping the layer options because that's the underlayer. You see that there's like that square kind of things, and then the breastplate thing is over top, and it's like the under half of a breastplate. But then this other guy he's got new stuff. I don't recognize that furry outfit. Sweet, I like it. Riftstone. So, and it's just so classically Dragon's Dogma. So it really looks like the pawn system is in. The rift system will be in place as well. And his outfit, I recognize that hat and the shawl. I don't recognize this monster. Medusa looks like a new monster. Sweet. I think this is like again, it's a new monster. I think this is a Sphinx.
Okay.
I think this is a Sphinx monster. That's my guess. Or a weird type of harpy, boss harpy, because the harpies kind of had the same look where they had the face of a person and wings, basically. Classic griffin. And this was cool. So this is Grigori, and they have the same voice actor. Even have the same voice actor. Listen to it. Ready? And wow, Grigori. Look at what he looks like. That's a facelift with the graphics. New graphics. Grigori is looking amazing there. Okay, I'm gonna watch it again. I've rewatched this trailer so much. That looks awesome.
Looks very good.
Yeah. So this is an Arisen with his 3 pawns there. And I'm looking at like the outfits and stuff and some of the outfits. So one thing that I think, should I be pretty confident that they're going to have better cloth physics in this version? They should. Yeah. They should. Well, because so the Arisen with the horned helmet, she's wearing like one of those classic, I don't know, loincloth things, right? One of my annoyances of that clothing item is that it didn't have cloth physics, so it was like it's stuck to your legs, and when you run, it's just folding with you. And I hated that. It looked awful. And so if it has proper cloth physics, it looks way better.
They should by now.
They should.
I mean, it's been long enough.
2023, Capcom. Give me good cloth physics. And so I think this is part of the story. Maybe there's an Arisen ruler somewhere, and he's got his pawns. And I reckon, look, it's just nostalgia. There's a lot of outfit elements I'm recognizing, and some that doesn't. Is that new? So the character creation. I want before, I'm hoping that they kind of got sliders where you can increase the girth on a slider, because Dragon's Dogma 1 was restricted by the technology. You just had options where you switched out chest types, and it was just like different sizes, and you didn't have full control. Oh, having full control. I'm expecting that. Yeah, that's going to be so cool. Can't wait. I like the outfit. And the hair and graphics looks pretty good on this one. And there we go. Dragon's Dogma 2. I'm ready. Is there anything else?
Oh, you should know. You watched this like 10 times.
I got it. There we go. All right, so there's a couple of things we can confirm from that. Just in summary, it looks like they're keeping not only character classes the same from the original game, but even like attack skills, like even animations being exactly the same. So that's awesome. It looks like they're expanding classes. We saw at least 2 new classes in that trailer with weapons that I haven't seen before. Or I wonder if they're just weapons that you can equip to the classic classes. I don't know. But I'm guessing that they're new classes entirely. And then clothing options, pawn system is back by what we've been able to see as well. It looks like an expanded map. But then there's other things that we don't know that I'm just hoping. I'm very excited. Speculated release date is like next year, though.
How long have you waited for it already?
I know.
Like,
I've waited too long. You're right,
long?
Nathan.
You could do one more year.
I know. I need it now.
You could do one more year.
I need it now. Are you going to get this one?
I don't know. We'll find. I want to see what else is involved. If it's just very single player story, I might pass. But if there's more multiplayer elements, if I can play with you, then maybe I'll get it. We'll see.
People are going to want me to stream this. This is my problem, my difficulty. This is like my special game. I just want to everyone leave me alone. I mean, this is like I'm going into a cave for a week and Shad is not available. This is like that's that game for me. And I don't know, like this is going to be a really fun, game. And when I stream, I'm not the type of person who finds that relaxing. And so maybe after my first playthrough, maybe I don't know, but
I reckon you'll get excited of things and you can do streams to show off all the stuff you've been doing.
Maybe.
We do with the Elden Ring, you just hop on and play.
We do have now saved streams of a Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen playthrough here on Night's Watch when it was game nights, and I do some really difficult things. So one of the things I do in that live stream, if you want to check it out and you get to see some Dragon's Dogma gameplay, if you haven't seen Dragon's Dogma before, is I go and kill Death in Bitter Black Isles at a low level. There's a little trick you can do to kill him really early, and you get 100 levels out of the gate. It seems fun, but it's hard to do, man.
Yeah.
And I did it. I'm a pro gamer like that. There are some games where I go, oh no, I'm going to be playing this on the hardest difficulty. I want hardcore out of the gates.
You want to take as long as you can to finish this game?
Well, no, the gameplay is so fun. The challenge is so enjoyable. I really enjoy, and the thing is though, sometimes you don't unlock the hardcore difficulty unless you pass the game first. So I might have to beat it on normal difficulty.
I was going to play it twice then.
I'll be playing it 100 times. If they make it as good as the first one and it looks like they're playing it safe and they have all those mechanics and good stuff in it, oh boy, I'm very excited. There we go. That's Dragon's Dogma 2, the trailer reaction. We'll be following it closely. Let me know if you want me to do a live stream of it.
Or more news. Every time news drops, we'll just do another video. We can see your excitement.
And we'll break it down. We're going to be nosy. All those things. But thank you for watching us, and as always, stay on watch.